Hello, I'm Rebecca. Welcome to my channel. Here I like to talk about being creative, sewing, makes, a little bit about sustainability, a little bit about life. So it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. I have had a lovely morning. I have been out and about with a friend and her daughter. We met for some pastries and some coffee, and then we went for a walk, a hike, which I haven't done in a while, and it was just a beautiful day to do it. So because we were doing a little bit of socializing and a little bit of walking, I kind of did a hybrid outfit. I've got a pretty blouse, and then I've got tights and enclosed shoes for walking on today, and it did the trick. A little bit hot when we were climbing back up the hill, but that would have happened in whatever I was wearing. Yeah, and then we sat and had a cool drink and a little bit of light lunch, looking at a beautiful view. So I went up to a place called Wentworth Falls in the Blue Mountains, and I'll put in some footage because it's truly beautiful. It was very busy with a lot of hikers and some canyoners with their wet packs on their back, and even some abseilers today, and then a whole lot of just other locals or tourists wanting to look at the views or grab a bite to eat or something. On the way up to Wentworth Falls, my friend and I met up at a little village in the mountains called Lawson, and in Lawson they have some truly delicious food. There is a bakery called the Cockatoo Bakery, and they are absolutely renowned for their croissants and their sourdough. So I got a little bit of each. I will put some pictures in, but I just have to show you. This is one of their sourdough loaves called Coruscant and linseed. Delicious. So, look at all that goodness. Fabulous, fresh, fabulous. I like to cut it quite thick and then pack it up and put it in the freezer, and then I've got some slices of bread ready for toast. Bit of toast and butter, delicious. And then I got myself some pastry treats. This one is plum and pistachio, and they said there's some cream cheese there. Yum. Never tried that before, but my absolute favorite, they are absolutely renowned for their croissants, and I've eaten a few croissants, and this is the best croissant I have ever had in my life. They call it their cinnamon croissant. So there's loads of sugar and cinnamon, and the bottom goes like all caramelized, and it's super duper crispy at the moment. Anyway, I will enjoy that with a cup of tea very shortly. They're just the extras on top of seeing my friend. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this blouse that I'm wearing. This is the Marnie Blouse from Tille and the Buttons, and I think this is actually my favorite blouse pattern. The pattern has some great sizes. It's pretty easy to grade between sizes if you need across the chest bigger or smaller. I can't imagine you'd need it a lot bigger down the bottom. I usually wear it with a little tuck to give me a little bit more shape, but you can see there's actually plenty of room. So if you're wider than me or your torso is longer, there's plenty of room to fit in here and leave it out. In fact, this is quite shortened. I think I took, I can't remember, at least 5 centimeters, maybe 10 centimeters off it. So you've got some details like the shoulder frill, the frill around the neck. The pattern always has loads of gathers across the front, and if you put on the long sleeve you have lots of gathers too. The back is a really simple loop and button, so no fancy fastenings. If you wish, there are extra details you can add with across the top here and similar across the sleeve. I'm sorry, I've forgotten what that technique's called. And that looks beautiful as well. I've never tried that. This was the first one I made. This is out of a 100% cotton that I got from Spotlight. You can see the frill has a bit of structure because it's 100% cotton. I really like the long sleeves and I'll be making some more of these. I do like the frill. I have also made my next one without the frill. I'll put in some pictures of me wearing this one, and I'll also put in some pictures of the other version that I've made as well. I'd taken some photos and popped it back in the cupboard. All right, so here's the other one that I have kept because I actually made a third one and I gave it away. So this is in, I think it's called a fine poplin. It feels a little bit like linen. It's a little bit more breathable than this one. I just left off the bottom part of the sleeve to keep it short, and I just turned it under twice and hemmed that. I've still got the ruffle at the top to make it a high collar. I did make an error with this and I was really annoyed at myself, but I think when I wear it you can't really even tell. I accidentally chopped down the middle, and this is supposed to be one piece put on the fold. Anyway, I just sewed it back together with a little seam, and I don't think anyone else notices except for me. Because this is a softer fabric, it drapes a lot more. Goes with, you can dress it up in some tailored pants or you can put it with jeans. I'll put in a few different ways to style it. I really enjoy figuring out how to style the pieces that I've made and I've decided to keep. I find that a really fun thing to do, so I'll put in photos of a couple of different ideas. I did make a third Marnie blouse and I really loved it, and it looked terrible on me because of the colors. So I made it in a black and white gingham, and there were actually two different types of gingham. They were both linen, and there was a large check here. I left off the frill and the shoulder frill, the neck frill and short sleeves again I did in a smaller gingham, a smaller check, and I really loved the play on the black and the white, but the large and the small kind of pattern. They complemented each other really well. Unfortunately, I put it on and it fitted, but the colors just looked terrible. You can see I can get really large dark areas under my eyes when I'm tired or I'm not feeling well, and it just made that a lot worse. I looked terrible with the black and the white, which is really odd because black is actually my most complementary color or tone to wear, and the black and white together just looked absolutely awful on me. However, my mum loved it and she was smiling with glee that she got a lovely handmade top that she can wear. So as I said, the Marnie blouse comes in a really good range of sizes. I think the pattern is probably a confident beginner. So there's nothing really tricky to do. It has loads of gathers and they're not hard, but they just take time. It's not a quick make because you've got lots of different gathered bits all over. Encasing the elastic is not a tricky technique. The collar is simply more gathers. There's nothing tricky there. Tille in the buttons, I really like the patterns. I don't love the instructions all the time. There's always a point in the pattern following along where I feel like I'm kind of making it up a little bit myself, where the instructions are not perfectly clear. And when I get to that point, I kind of talk myself through it, do a little pretend make, look at it, check that that works, and then I go ahead with it. I think on this pattern, it's actually been putting the binding onto the neckline. That was unclear for me and I wasn't quite sure how to do that. And as I said, the other adjustment I've made is leaving off the little tucks and bringing up the bottom of the shirt quite a bit. I didn't need it as long as it was. The blouse also can be extended into a dress and I've never done that, so that might be on the cards to try and see if the shape suits me. I actually picked up some material, secondhand material, during my Christmas break that I might have a little try with the dress version. Here's the fabric I picked up from a place called the Sewing Basket that I'd never been to before, and I'll talk a little bit more about that another time. It's a place where you can get secondhand material that people donate, and there's 4 of these stores around all parts of, I guess, East Coast New South Wales in Australia, and people work there as volunteers, and some of the proceeds also go towards helping people with disabilities. So I was quite happy to discover these stores that I'd never heard of before. Anyway, here's the material that I found which may suit. The trick is with these older materials, they're actually only 90 centimeters wide, which is often not enough to make a dress. So this is 90 centimeters wide, but I got a 5-meter bit, so I might be able to put together pieces to make the dress version of the Marnie. It's kind of a mid-weight cotton, got some good drape, but it won't be super cool. So I think I'd make this with the long sleeves to make it a winter dress and wear the dress with tights and boots or something like that. So that's my little look at the Marnie blouse, and that's a little bit about my day today here in the Blue Mountains on a sunny 24 degrees Celsius day. That's actually quite cool for a summer day here. Yeah, it's just right to be able to fit in a nice walk and a catch up. So I'm going to go and pop the kettle on and enjoy one of my pastries that I picked up at Black Cockatoo. And if you have made the Marnie and you have some great fabrics to share or any tips and tricks about versions of the Marnie, I'd love to hear it, especially if you've made the dress version or if you've made the tucks, which I've never done before. That'd be terrific. And I hope you are having a wonderful, creative, joyful day. Bye for now.
Yeah, they're more up there, weren't they? Oh, look at these ones, Alicia. Sorry, imagine living there.
It looks like one was there, but then like an earthquake, it just fell. And then trees started.